Michael Strahan has had a varied career, from football player to TV host to space traveler. The man's love life, which has included many divorces, allegations of domestic violence, and a significant amount of time spent in court, is even more noteworthy. Without question, Michael Strahan has accomplished a great deal in his 50 years of life. However, his drama sometimes overshadows his professional achievements. The guy seems to have one of the most complex romantic histories, with painful memories of previous relationships that he would rather forget. Michael Strahan repeatedly brought products from the spa where he met his second wife. Michael Strahan's relationship with Jean Muggli, his second wife, seems to have lasted the longest. It was in 1994 when the two met at a spa. While Strahan was purportedly searching for shower gel, Muggli was employed at the business. The two seemed to be in love at first sight, but neither understood how to start the relationship. The TV personality continued returning to the spa to purchase additional items only to see Jean, according to the New York News. When he invited her out, he was down several $100s and didn't need anything he had bought. Fortunately for Michael, Muggli said yes, so the money wasn't squandered. Jean's alleged lack of interest in sports meant the couple were somewhat mismatched. The two took a big step forward when Jean agreed to go on a date. But would they have anything to connect about when they spent time together alone? Given that Strahan was still playing in the NFL at the time, it seemed that Muggli isn't a big sports fan, which is regrettable. Jean was instantly at a disadvantage since he probably wouldn't be very interested in talking about his day. On the other hand, many individuals fall in love with someone whose work they dislike. Muggli's dislike of sports wouldn't matter if they were intended to be together. However, this may have been an indication that the relationship was doomed. Strahan proposed with a prenup that offered Jean some benefits. Because the NFL player's proposal sparked a spark between Michael and Jean, he was riding high with the New York Giants, so if they divorced, he might lose a lot. For this reason, before their marriage, he established a prenuptial agreement. Jean is not necessarily disadvantaged since this contract typically only protects the creator's rights after a divorce. According to their prenup, Muggli would get 20% of the money he saved each year of their marriage if they divorced. She would gain more if they chose to end their romance the longer they were together. Michael got married and had 2 children with Jean, just as he did with his first wife. The prenuptial agreement seemed ideal, given that Jean and Michael were married in 1999. This was Strahan's second marriage after being married for the first time in 1992. He wed entrepreneur Wanda Hutchins, and the two produced a daughter and a son. In 1996, their divorce was formalized. According to reports, Michael did his best to remain active, even though his children moved home with their mother following the divorce. After he started a family with Jean, who delivered the NFL player's twin daughters in 2004, this continued to be the case. Strahan's life should have been pleasant when they arrived, but it seems that the arrival of the kids coincided with Michael and Jean's collapse. He filed for divorce and was then met with a lawsuit from his wife. It's possible that Michael learned when to end his relationship with Jean from his experience with Wanda. When things in his second marriage went south, he took little time to quit it since he already understood what it was like to be in a failed marriage. The choice was likely complex. Ultimately, it included tearing a family apart once again. But even if it meant raising them in 2 different houses, his kids deserved to grow up in a happy environment. Regretfully, the family would not experience bliss for a considerable time. Muggli filed a lawsuit to change everything for the NFL defensive end in response to Strahan's divorce request. Jean accused her husband of domestic violence and having an affair. It seems that Jean accused her husband of domestic abuse since she had no intention of getting a peaceful divorce. Claims that Michael had been having an affair, which he allegedly didn't attempt to hide, were made alongside allegations that Strahan had a history of abusing her, which her attorney said could be medically verified. The New York Post claims he had a phone conversation with the other lady while Jean was in the room. Additionally, Michael purchased a gift for her, which he supposedly concealed in a location his wife would discover. It makes sense that Michael and Jean wanted to split up in light of all these accusations. The drama was far from done, however. A significant dispute supposedly broke out after Jean moved money into her account. Money was central to the marital dispute that allegedly sparked the most intense turmoil between Jean and Michael. According to reports, it started when Jean transferred $1.7 million into her account from the couple's joint account. Strahan was furious when he got home and demanded that she return it after learning what she had done. "He was yelling so close that spit was hitting my face," Muggli testified, adding that she had only sent the funds after her husband had done the same thing at some point before. Furthermore, it was allegedly more difficult for her to spend what she wanted since he had blocked access to her credit cards. It's uncertain whether Jean's allegations that Michael moved money are true. Jean allegedly moved another $1.6 million to her account out of fear. Transferring $1.7 million into your account is a significant sum of money. Furthermore, it's been stated that Jean made further payments to herself. According to testimony given during the court case, she then transferred an additional $1.6 million into her account. She allegedly sent the money this time because Muggli was afraid, but her original motivation was retribution. She may have planned to escape, which is why she executed the crime following the alleged fight over the $1.7 million. She told the court, "I was afraid at this point. He looked at me with such hate." Jean was making severe accusations, but insisted that everything she stated was true. Michael had supposedly been violent with Jean since the start of their relationship. The fact that Michael's claimed aggressive conduct was nothing new was one of the most alarming admissions made throughout the trial. Jean claims that before they were even married, there had been cases of abuse. This includes a fictitious 1996 incident in which Strahan allegedly struck her in the face. The two were reportedly residing in Germany at the time. Muggli allegedly told the authorities about her partner's history of violence after the pair settled in the U.S. She wanted it documented, according to the New York Post. During their marriage, the police visited the couple's home many times. They did not, however, go into more detail about why they went there. However, it did imply that Jean was being honest. The couple allegedly went to therapy to try and resolve their issues and fix the marriage. Even if the romance is very fresh, leaving an abusive relationship might be difficult. Jean didn't know how to go if her comments regarding Michael's aggressive tendencies were genuine. That, or that she wanted to try to save the relationship, which Jean supposedly attempted to accomplish in therapy. The pair reportedly attended therapy sessions to attempt to resolve Strahan's anger management problems and mend their relationship. According to reports, these treatment sessions went on until the daughters were born, at which time not much had changed. Jean claims that these sessions didn't resolve the abuse since it persisted after the twins were born. Naturally, that is, if they ever occurred at all. Michael Strahan vehemently denied being abusive towards his wife. What was Michael Strahan's response to all these accusations leveled against him? He wouldn't hear a word from them. Asserting that he had never been violent with Jean, he said he would never physically or psychologically harm any of my loved ones, especially my wife. He said that was not his identity and would not contribute to a public spectacle of an extremely private matter. Given the accusations against him, Michael's vigorous denials of wrongdoing were primarily expected. Naturally, most individuals in his situation, guilty or not, would follow suit. His statements weren't much of a refutation of the allegations, but a subsequent event undoubtedly turned the tide in his favor. Jean retracted her allegations against Michael, claiming that he never touched her. It's beneficial if you don't abruptly back down from a severe statement and want others to trust it. During her legal struggle with Strahan, Muggli did just that, leaving many people perplexed. Jean allegedly altered her statement when the court could not offer specific justifications for the evidence she'd presented. The charges against Strahan were dropped because, according to her, their quarrel over the money had never become physical. It's unclear if Jean was lying about her husband's abuse or whether he wasn't as aggressive as she claimed only this one time. Regardless of the facts, Muggli did herself no favors by completely changing her mind in court. Strahan was pleased with the result, although there were apparent repercussions. It was a massive relief for Michael when the accusations against him were dismissed in court. He no longer had to worry about a guilty conviction, and there was little chance that his reputation would suffer harm. By taking back her remarks, Jean ensured that most of his admirers stayed faithful to him and raised questions about whether he was innocent. However, the favorable outcome did not necessarily make up for all the harm that the litigation had caused. Strahan was supposedly only allowed to see the girls outside the house every other day and was not allowed to enter the family home. As a result of the divorce, Michael would have to adjust to not having the kids around all the time. Michael supposedly filmed Jean's sister undressing several years before the wedding. During their tumultuous divorce, Jean accused her husband of more than just abusive conduct. Muggli also claimed that the guy had recorded her sister taking off her clothes. In 1997, Strahan allegedly assaulted the woman's privacy because he was enamored with her. Michael's wife informed the court that $30,000 in hush money had been moved to a personal account and that she had found recording equipment in the bedroom. It's unclear why Jean remained silent until later, considering this supposedly occurred years before the couple's marriage. Given what she said Michael had done before their wedding, several people questioned why the lady would even get married to him, but nobody had ever received a direct response from Muggli about the truth. Muggli claimed that Michael had lost interest in her because he was secretly into men. Jean added that her husband was covertly interested in guys, as if all those accusations weren't enough. Strahan had many noteworthy relationships with women throughout the years, but that was never the case in public. However, according to Muggli's court case, Michael ceased having personal relations with her because he wanted to be with guys. According to her, Strahan was in a relationship with Ian Smith, with whom the NFL player briefly shared a home. Regarding their shared one-bedroom flat, she said, "You can tell an alternative lifestyle sprouted." On Wendy Williams' radio program, Michael, a fervent advocate for the LGBTQ community, refuted the accusations. Ian also attested to the fact that their relationship had always been cordial. Jean got more than $15 million from the divorce thanks to Michael's prenuptial agreement. Michael was undoubtedly anxious to get rid of his wife after hearing everything Jean said about him. After the court rejected the accusations against him, the couple was free to get a divorce. Regretfully, Strahan did not get the happy release he had longed for. He was forced to pay Muggli an unexpectedly large sum, more than $15 million, because of the prenuptial agreement. 20% of yearly income is significant for someone like Michael Strahan. Between 1999 and 2006, he made a substantial salary from the NFL and other professional obligations. So Jean was far from poor when she removed the ring from her finger. She likely benefited from the fact that it struck Strahan. She had no remorse over the financial payout because it was Strahan's prenup. They were utterly mistaken if anybody thought Jean would feel bad about taking so much money from her ex. After the commotion surrounding the bank transactions, Muggli was overjoyed to have the funds injected into her account. She emphasized that she didn't need to feel bad since Strahan's attorney drafted the prenuptial agreement. No matter how acrimonious the breakup, Jean would always get that much money if she remained with him for that long. Naturally, it included more than just the $15.3 million that she took from her partner. In addition, Michael was supposed to provide her with $18,000 a month in child support payments. In fact, Jean was rolling in it. Michael turned the tables and accused Jean of abusing their children in 2020. You would have assumed that Michael and Jean would like to avoid going to court after the divorce's emotional roller coaster. But in 2020, the two were embroiled in yet another court battle. This time, the only difference is that Strahan made the accusations. He desired sole custody because he believed his ex-wife had abused their girls. Michael says there's been a pattern of abusive conduct towards the children for years, and he was determined to stop it, according to TMZ. He essentially wanted to switch places with Jean so that he would be the primary caregiver and she would only be allowed to visit. But did Strahan have sufficient proof to establish his ex's abuse? He made some significant claims about Jean's parental failures with the twins. Michael didn't just throw a lot of assertions against the wall and see what stayed when it came to his assault allegations against Jean. According to reports, he had concrete instances of how his ex-wife's actions impacted the kids. This included their mother refusing to give them passports, which prevented him from taking the twins to Europe. Additionally, it was shown that Jean was the reason the girls did not attend the court-mandated treatment sessions. The mother allegedly neglected to take them to other events besides these sessions. Strahan questioned how terrible things had become since the twins frequently missed athletic activities like volleyball contests. He seems confident that if the girls lived with him, such incidents wouldn't occur. Jean fired back that Michael had hired a private investigator to watch the house. Jean isn't scared to take on Michael, as seen by their previous court dispute. She didn't just stand by and let her ex-husband accuse her of being a violent parent. She said Strahan had engaged a private investigator to monitor the residents throughout the court process. As would be expected, Michael's attorneys refuted this allegation, saying that the notion that she is under surveillance is absurd and that it could never be proven. This is in contrast to the purported proof that Strahan allegedly has, which demonstrates how she's mistreated the twins. All of this arguing threatened to knock both parents down, but neither was prepared to lose to the other. The parents ultimately agreed to joint custody of the twins. The children were far more conscious of what was happening this time than during the couple's last major court dispute. The more Michael and Jean quarreled, the more upheaval the daughters went through. Maybe that's why the two managed to set aside their disagreements long enough to devise a workable solution. After the court struggle, the parents were awarded shared custody instead of exclusive custody. As a result of the agreement, the kids switched between their parents once a week. This was a big step for Strahan since it meant he could see more of the kids, but there were still a few problems to be solved. Muggli claimed that Strahan hadn't been making his child support payments. Muggli had her share of problems with the TV personality that she wanted to discuss in court, even though Michael was the one who started the abuse lawsuit against Jean. The largest was that they hadn't paid child support since their divorce. Strahan has been battering her financially in an attempt to avoid paying the required payments, according to the girl's mother. He also reportedly made the abuse charges because he didn't want to give her the money he owed. Jean also thinks that Michael's monthly payments must be modified to reflect the cost of living. After he retired from the NFL, his original monthly cost of $18,000 was allegedly lowered to $13,000. Jean was arrested in 2021 for harassing her former friend. Thanks to his employment on television, Michael has been doing well since the drama of his divorce. However, Jean may not be able to say the same. She was jailed in June 2021 for violating a protective order by her old acquaintance, Marianne Ayers. Earlier this year, the two ladies had been friends for 2 years, moved in together. But the relationship soured once Muggli started acting almost immediately abusively toward the other woman's kid. After allegedly visiting Ayers' house and giving out intimate pictures of herself to passers-by, Jean was then taken into custody. Marianne has called Michael's ex a sociopath and narcissist and accused her of grand theft, compulsion, harassment, and disorderly behavior, according to TMZ. Michael moved on with Nicole Murphy and proposed to her in 2009. Michael hasn't stayed unmarried after the divorce. He hasn't been married again, although he's been in several committed relationships, such as the one he had with Nicole Murphy. The NFL player quickly transitioned from Jean to Nicole and their connection ensured many years of happiness together. They'd already been part of a family from the start of their relationship when both began dating. This implied that having kids together was not always in the cards, but it was something that was initially marriage. According to reports, Michael proposed to Nicole in August 2009, and she happily accepted. Or was this supposed to be Strahan's third lucky break? Michael Strahan allegedly put together a prenup that Nicole reportedly refused to sign. You may think Michael Strahan might reconsider creating a prenuptial agreement after the settlement he had to pay after divorcing Jean, but he wouldn't leave anything to chance when he proposed to Nicole. He allegedly typed up a paper because he didn't want to risk losing more than he was comfortable with. Regretfully, it seems that Murphy was unwilling to sign it. They reportedly had a lengthy engagement that ended without marriage because the possibility of a prenuptial agreement plagued their relationship. They still hadn't been married in 2014, even though Strahan proposed in 2009. The relationship ended that year, so it was probably for the best. There were rumors that Michael had an affair with his co-host, Kelly Ripa. It was terrible to see the engagement end, primarily because it meant Michael would have to deal with another failed relationship. Although some rumors provide potential answers, the couple's cause for splitting was never evident. According to page 6, the relationship ended because of money and the prenup. Some newspapers claimed that an affair was to blame. However, it's unclear who the alleged affair was with. One of the main ladies accused of having an affair with Strahan behind Murphy's back was Kelly Ripa. She seems to have been close to Michael as his TV wife and co-host. Ripa, however, may not have been the person the NFL star reportedly cheated on her with for a valid cause. Kelly was allegedly furious about Michael's departure from their show. It's common for individuals to have an affair with someone they like. Regretfully, it didn't seem like Michael and Kelly were as close as it appeared on television. Behind the scenes, the two could be aloof, even though they had great chemistry while the cameras were rolling. After Strahan revealed that he was leaving their program, everything started to fall apart. According to a source on page 6, Ripa reportedly had a complete meltdown after learning of his departure, only after he issued a statement. She saw his departure as the ultimate betrayal and was upset at being taken by surprise. Their relationship was on the verge of becoming the Arctic if it was already chilly between them. A month after leaving the show, Strahan admitted that he didn't miss it. Michael said in his April 2016 announcement that he would depart the program in September. However, shortly after, his departure was rescheduled for the following month. This was most likely the best, considering the alleged tension behind the scenes. However, there were rumors that Ripa and Strahan reconciled before the last program, raising the prospect of a fresh start, but it was short-lived. He talked with Chelsea Handler in June that year, rekindling the conflict. Michael told her, "I haven't missed it," while discussing his previous TV program. He admitted that he enjoyed and valued the experience, but it was obvious that he was happy to be away from the series and, most likely, Ripa. Within a few months of leaving, Michael and Kelly no longer had a relationship. Kelly and Michael wouldn't have been friends after he left if they'd stayed friends when they were coworkers. When the TV personality told People magazine there wasn't a connection in September 2016, he acknowledged as much. He said that he had no idea how things had gotten out of hand and that they had once been friends. ABC didn't like Strahan bringing up Ripa during the interview, according to page 6. He was at war with the network that paid his salary because they thought he was repeating old stories without justification. However, some continue to discuss it. In a Variety interview 4 years later, Ripa revisited the topic to express her annoyance at his departure. The announcement of Michael and Nicole's split might have been an act of sabotage. It's reasonable to conclude that Michael and Kelly didn't conduct an affair when Strahan was with Murphy, considering all that's come to light about their relationship. Even while these kinds of allegations do seem to be expected in the NFL player's romantic life, there may not have been an affair after all. It may never be known why the engagement was called off or if Nicole planned when to make the news of their breakup. The split was made public just before Michael was admitted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Murphy, or someone close to her, allegedly intended to ruin this specific phase of Strahan's career, according to TMZ. By the time the news surfaced, the engagement had ended weeks before. He moved on to have a more private relationship with Kayla Quick. The connection between Michael and Nicole is now history, regardless of what transpired. With Kayla Quick, the NFL player is rediscovering love after moving on from his ex. According to reports, the two started dating in 2015, and as far as the public knows, they're still together today. This connection seems completely secret, contrasting some of Strahan's previous ones. It makes sense given the drama that's transpired in the man's life. A private connection seems ideal since his legal fight with Jean was much more public than he would have liked. However, it does not imply that the two are never seen together. Over the years, there have been many appearances. They've just been infrequent. Kayla has form for getting in trouble with the police. Considering some of the information that have been uncovered about Kayla, it would be unwise for him to keep their connection quiet. Since Quick was allegedly jailed many times when she was younger, she doesn't have the cleanest record. Kayla's problems began early when she was accused of stealing money and breaching the law, leading to her running afoul. Michael would not be so keen to have her in his life if she hadn't presumably moved on from all that. Strahan seems prepared to offer her a fresh start since he doesn't want to be characterized by the issues of the past. Does it imply that marriage may be imminent? The verdict's out on that one based on his recent attempts. Strahan and Wiz Khalifa are being sued by a business partner for supposedly stealing millions. Michael's second wife has caused him more than enough legal issues. Regretfully, she is not the only one who continues to sue him. It was revealed in late 2020 that Strahan was being sued by a business partner who said they were not given a cut of the profits from their film. The blast claims that Wiz Khalifa and Michael are being pursued for allegedly stealing assets worth over $100 million. The case stems from the claimant's belief that their activities are part of a civil conspiracy against him. However, the precise amount of damages they're seeking is unknown. The sum is likely hefty given the amount of money they allege Strahan and Khalifa took via the usurpation and misappropriation of assets. Michael Strahan was called out on social media for his trip to space. Thanks to Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson, space tourism has advanced significantly in recent years. Michael is one of several famous people who have had the good fortune to launch into space. It took the NFL player some time to accept Bezos' invitation to view the stars in September 2021. Regretfully, many fans were critical of Strahan, even if others were thrilled for him. On social media, they expressed their strong opinions and emphasized his little journey's effect on the Earth's carbon imprint. They blasted the guy for spending millions on a 10-minute trip, of which only 3 minutes were in zero gravity. Michael can't get a break, even when he has nothing to do with his romantic life. Strahan is tired of the drama after years of controversies. For Strahan, the scandal is only the beginning. Whether or not he mistreated his second wife, the incident damaged his reputation, and it took a long time for people to move on. Fortunately, he's established a lucrative television career and several enduring partnerships. After all, things may have turned out differently very soon. Strahan is undoubtedly sick of the turmoil and hopes these recent problems end quickly. Michael, who's in his 50s now, is content to live a more tranquil life with his family and isn't searching for drama. After years of wanting to see his children, Michael can finally do so, and he doesn't want to spend any more time. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon